being together. So, thank you for being here.
Here, here. I think Book of James, Bible, the line, life is a vapor. Life is even as a vapor. Mom was a particularly warm and bright vapor. And many of you knew Dad. Dad was gone a lot when we were young. He was working so hard. A lot of times I wouldn't see Dad except for Saturday and Sunday. Gone when we woke up. We'd get back long after we'd gone to bed. And Mom really made that her own house and a warm, warm place. And we were not her children, we were the baby lynx offers. And I followed Ursula von Baby. Came before Allison T. Cat. And really it was such a universe made in by Mom's hand that it was shocking to me to grow up a little going to school and find out there was another guy named Rabindranath Tagore. That was me. There's some guy had been a poet in India in the late 1800s. He was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, and that's very nice, but I was Rabindranath Tagore. And I was also Kid Ory, turned out to be one of the first jazz musicians. Maybe most jarringly, Madman Muntz.
Oh, that's for sure.
Well, Madman Muntz, as it turns out, owned a chain of used car lots in the tri-state area. And his prices were so low he had to be crazy.
And what was his dad's nickname?
Dad's? Well, there were a lot.
Wampus.
Wampus.
Michelle Cerise.
Who's another?
Right? Who's another?
There were a good many. What does that say? Oh. 2 years and a week ago, many of you heard me talk about Dad and his intelligence and his humor and his courage. And he certainly met his match in Mom in all of those regards. And at one point, before we had the nurses and Mom was really becoming incapacitated, I was lifting her up from her bed, putting her in a wheelchair, and she was in a lot of pain and she gasped in pain. And she could tell I was upset. And still gasping in pain, she said, "Jockey, dance with me," and began to sing one of her show songs. And that's courage. And the courage with which she looked at the end of her life, the grace.
Sorry.
With which she...
It's okay to cry.
She approached her end was the equal of anything Dad did in combat. I think the saying is attributed to Queen Victoria II, grief is the price we pay for love. And I prefer to think of it as the way we honor love. So thank you for being here to help us honor our mother.
It's very difficult to capture the essence of my mother, who deserves much time and many, many words of love. But I think most of you know that she was born and raised in Montana on a cattle ranch. She could drive a pickup truck by the time she was 9. She could shoot a rifle. This added greatly to her mystique in our eyes as a mother, because we didn't see that side of her. But the wonderful thing about Mom to all of us was that she was such a complex set of contradictions, and we consider them delightful contradictions. She was just as happy having a burger in a bar in Livingston, Montana, as she was as having dinner at the Ritz in She
I
loved.
don't know if she'd agree with me.
But she was a person who started in a beautiful but stark area of our country. She wanted to experience everything, and she took joy in learning and experiencing and traveling with our father, and so many friends who are here today, some who are not, but she was a fabulous lady, and in some ways she just reminds me of the beginning of A Tale of Two Cities, because she was so full of contrast. She saw the best of times in her life, and she saw the worst of times, and she always smiled. I think because she lost both of her parents at a very young age, we, the four of us, and my father were all the more important to her. And we will just miss her terribly.
Well, I'll try to add something. It's hard because everybody does such a great job. And I have to read this because I am not my siblings, but it is hard to say a few words about Mom because there's so much to her. You could say she was private, but she really wasn't. She just refused to impose herself on anyone or anything. She was always so concerned with other people and just a consummate, polite, civil, pleasant woman. She was somebody who could do anything. She was absolutely magical to us. And intrepid, there was an icy hill on Sutton Road, and she drove us onto the bus every morning. And I have to say, to her delight at times, she would do 360s. It was fine. It was just more interesting. She'd just laugh about it. And as has been said, words were her medium. She was an artist, and she instilled that in all of us. But all of her words were well chosen, which is a rare and wonderful gift. Another wonderful gift is to be here together with you all, and we thank you for sharing this time.
Jed, did you want to say something? Come on. Are you finished, Sarah?
Yes, I am.
Come on up.
Just go up. Oh, you've never been shy before. Get going.
The matriarch.
Matriarch.
All right. I told Carol not to cry, and I'm not giving a good representation of that. But Aunt Lou has given me many, many gifts throughout the year. Her love, her affection. She's loved my children. Couldn't wait to see my grandchildren born. Everything she's given me, I've appreciated. Last week she gave me something I didn't really want, but I am now the oldest. I've replaced her. And it's going to be hard to fit in her shoes, but I am the oldest. I have to tell you one thing. When I think I might have been 9 years old. My parents were probably going to Holstein Convention because that's all they did.
They did other things too.
But anyway, I was very sad that they were leaving, and I said, Mom, I don't want you to leave. And she said, oh, don't worry. If anything happens to Dad and me, your dad and me, Aunt Lou and Uncle Jack will be your parents. And I remember just like, oh, how do you Anyway, I was reading, and I didn't realize how old I am as compared to younger, but I read her senior year at Pembroke, I was born. So I think I've known her for a longer time than I ever thought that I met Aunt Lou when she was in college. So I guess I've known her a very long time, and I'm going to miss her so much. And I love my cousins. We have our cousins.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
Let's toast.
Let's toast.
Here's to her.
Yep. Should I go up?
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll eat one day.
I know my cousin Jock saying, oh my God, she's going to start crying. It's last night to cry. It's Niagara Falls. I just want to tell you one thing, and that is that Aunt Lou was the person that we all obviously love and care and adore. But she was a woman of grace, she was a woman who was humble, and one of her greatest characteristics was she was such a good listener. When you talked to Aunt Lou, she listened. She never interrupted you, she never said it was all about me. She listened and made you feel like your story was very important to her. So my message is if all of us could be 10% of Aunt Lou Cunningham, it'll be a better world.